Hey guys, what's up? This is Teddy Macedo, aka bearRimshot's speaking.
Scan has completed. Warning. Advanced Mac Cleaner has detected issues that need your immediate attention.
Leave me alone.
Click on Clean Now to fix these issues.
Leave me alone, stupid spam. No, thank you. Okay. Sorry about that, people. Anyways, today I'm gonna do something a little bit different than usual when I do special vlogs. Now, instead of talking about sharing my thoughts on a particular event, like a convention, I'm going to be sharing my predictions on a video game. Well, which video game, you guys may ask? Let's just say, today I'm going to be talking about what are my personal predictions for Super Smash Bros. For Switch. And for those who don't know, yes, people, there will be a new Super Smash Bros. Game finally coming out for the Nintendo Switch, in which I'm highly excited about. I must also say that out of all the games coming to the Nintendo Switch, that is the number one game I've been most anticipated for. Anyways, without further delay, let's get on with what are my predictions on Super Smash Bros. For Switch. Okay, when it comes to Super Smash Bros. For Switch, I come to notice that when people talk about their own predictions of Super Smash Bros. For Switch, usually there's always going to be those who say that it's going to be a new game, and then there's always going to be those who say that it's going to be a port of Super Smash Bros. 4. Personally, I think it's going to be a new game. What I'm trying to say here, it's going to be a sequel to Super Smash Bros. 4. So overall, it's going to be a Super Smash Bros. 5. In my opinion, that is. But yeah, at least in my point of view, the next Super Smash Bros. Game should be considered a new game, well, a sequel in this case, to Super Smash Bros. 4. As for which characters I think could be in Super Smash Bros. For Switch, so far we already do know for a fact that the Inklings from the Splatoon games are going to be in it. First off, let's start off with the veterans. Now, when we speak about all the 12 characters that were in the original Super Smash Bros., including Mario, Link, Kirby, Pikachu, Donkey Kong, Yoshi, Fox, Samus, Luigi, Ness, Jigglypuff, and Captain Falcon, I just knew that they all would have to return somehow. As every single time whenever Nintendo dare make a new game of Super Smash Bros., this is the moment where Mario, Link, Kirby, Pikachu, Donkey Kong, Yoshi, Samus, Fox, Luigi, Ness, Jigglypuff, and Captain Falcon are all always going to return. So somehow it should be obvious that they're all going to return. And now let's get into the melee characters. Peach, I'd say she's definitely going to return all right. And then of course we got Bowser, definitely returning. Then of course we got Dr. Mario, whom I will say is probably not going to return due to the fact that he would be considered as a clone of Mario. And besides, we already got a Dr. Mario amiibo, thanks to his presence in Smash 4. So I wouldn't be bothered if Dr. Mario doesn't return at all whatsoever. Then of course you got Zelda. She should be able to return with no problem. Same can also be said about Ganondorf. As for young Link, well, out of all the Smash Brothers veterans, I'd say young Link would be the most unlikeliest character to ever be able to return in Smash. Why? Well, I highly recommend you guys to go check out this one episode of Rate That Character Source Gaming once did, where they look at young Link. I will put a link in the description below. Anyways, and when we speak about Legend of Zelda characters, I remember hearing that we could possibly see Link and Zelda resemble how they are in Breath of the Wild. I'm not sure how I feel about that. I personally like it how they are in Brawl and Smash 4, personally, but yeah. And then, of course, you got Falco. Obviously, he should be able to return. Definitely returning. And then, of course, you got Marth. Definitely returning alright. As for Roy, maybe. I wouldn't be bothered if he doesn't return, as he already got his own amiibo figure. And then, of course, you got the Ice Climbers. By popular demand, they are definitely returning. It's too bad none of the Ice Climbers appeared in Smash 4. And considering of how likable they are, now the reason why the Ice Climbers didn't return in Smash 4 all came down to the 3DS limitations that Masahiro Sakurai did sadly gone through when trying to implement the Ice Climbers. And then, of course, you got Mr. Game & Watch. I'd give it a maybe in this case. It could return only if Sakurai wants to. Same can also be said about Roy. As for Mewtwo, maybe. Pichu, probably not, due to the fact that Pichu would be considered as a clone of Pikachu. Though I wouldn't be bothered if Pichu dare return in Smash for Switch. Besides, if you put anyone in Super Smash Bros. Beginning with Smash 4, you know they'd be getting their own amiibo. More about that later. And now let's get into Brawl. First off, we got Diddy Kong, definitely returning. Wario, also definitely returning. Though I do hope he would resemble how he would when he's all dressed in purple and yellow. And yes, I'm talking about that Wario right here. And then, of course, you got Toon Link. Maybe only if Sakurai wants to. I'd be open if he is. But, yeah. And then, of course, you got Meta Knight. Considering the fact that Kirby is considered to be Sakurai's baby, it wouldn't be a surprise to see Meta Knight return. And the same can also be said about King Dedede as well. Fun fact, in the Super Smash Bros. Games, King Dedede is voiced by Masahiro Sakurai himself. I am not making this up. It's true what I'm saying right here. Lucario, maybe. He could return only if Sakurai wants to. As for Squirtle, Ivysaur, and Charizard, well, I do hope they all return. As for, anybody else? Alright, and then of course you got Wolf O'Donnell. Definitely returning by popular demand, which is a similar reason why the Ice Climbers would return. Then, of course, you got Ike. Definitely returning. I'd say Marth would be more. I'd say when it comes to Ike, I think he'd be definitely be returning more likely so than Roy. And Lucina, more about that later. Anyways. And then, of course, you got Pitt. Definitely returning. Um, Rob the Robot. Definitely possibly returning only if Sakurai wants to. And then, of course, you got Snake. Now, as much as I would love Snake to return, definitely most unlikely. I'm sad to say. Why? Well, let's just say the creator of Metal Gear Solid, Hideo Kojima, doesn't work for Konami anymore, which is a total shame. As Hideo Kojima, as you can see, is really good friends with Masahiro Sakurai. However, at the very least, according to Nintendex from Source Gaming, Konami won't turn down Snake returning in Smash, which is a great thing, which is great to hear. And besides, I definitely would want Snake back in Smash anyways, just for the sake of getting him an amiibo figure. If I had any other good reasons why I want Snake back, well, let's just say I definitely enjoyed his final Smash. And then, of course, you got Sonic. Considering the fact that he is already getting some games on the Switch, Sonic should definitely be able to return with no problem. I can see Sonic returning with no problem. Now, let's get into Smash 4 characters. First off, we got Rosalina and Luma. I bet we can all agree she would definitely be more likely than Pauline. Why? Well, if you watched the Rate That Character episode based on Pauline, you will get and understand why I think Rosalina could possibly return instead of Pauline, even though Pauline hasn't been smashed yet, but yeah, you get the idea. And then, of course, you got Bowser Jr. Could return if Sakurai wants to. And then, of course, you got Greninja. Could return only if Sakurai wants to. And then, as for Lucina, definitely most unlikely. Why? Let's just say, when it comes to Lucina, she appears to be more of a... I noticed a lot of people say she's a Marth clone. So out of all the Fire Emblem characters returning, she'd be the least likely to return. Even in comparison to both Roy and Ike and Robin and Corrin. Speaking about Robin and Corrin, they both could possibly return if Sakurai wants to. And then of course you got Shulk, definitely returning as we are getting Xenoblade on the Switch. And as for Wii Fit Trainer, let's just say unlikely. Why? Let's just say, consider how irrelevant Wii Fit Trainer can be nowadays. Since Nintendo's main focus console-wise is the Switch, not the Wii, nor the Wii U. Don't get me wrong, I love the Wii, and I enjoyed playing some Wii U games. And just, yeah, Nintendo's now focusing on the Nintendo Switch and a bit of 3DS. Other than that, their focus is mainly on the Switch, hardware-wise, that is. Duck Hunt Dog, maybe if Sakurai wants to. As for Bayonetta, as you are getting some games on the Switch with Amiibo support, I could possibly see Bayonetta returning as well. As for Pac-Man, if Namco is still involved, I'm sure Pac-Man would return. As for Mega Man, well, as he is already getting some games on the Switch, some of which involve Amiibo support, Mega Man could also return as well. Whereas with the case of Ryu, as we are getting some Street Fighter games coming on the Switch, including a port of Street Fighter 2 called Ultra Street Fighter 2 The Final Challengers, I wouldn't be surprised if Ryu dare return. And besides, Ryu is already considered to be a major crossover icon anyways, which is how he got into Smash in this case. And speaking of crossover icons, you also have Cloud. Now, as much as I'd love for him to return, let's just say he I wouldn't say he's as likely as, say, Sonic or Bayonetta or Pac-Man or Mega Man or Ryu per se, but would definitely be more likely than Snake, that's for sure. Then when it comes to Cloud and Smash for Switch, there are some pros and there are some cons when it comes to Cloud appearing in Smash for Switch. The pros being that Square Enix is not only thankfully supporting the Switch, but also we're getting a remake of Final Fantasy VII. Whereas for the cons, well, let's just say we're not getting any Final Fantasy games coming to the Switch, though we could possibly get Kingdom Hearts 3 on the Switch. And now that I got all the veterans, let's get into the newcomers. But I almost forgot two more veterans. Of course, you got Palutena, definitely returning. As for Dark Pit, probably not due to the fact they'd be considered as a clone of Pit. But yeah. And now, finally, let's get into the newcomers, who I think could be joining Smash for Switch. First off, let's start off with first-party characters. First off, we got Daisy. Although she would be considered as a Peach clone, in the end of the day, I still think she still plays in our hearts when playing several Mario games. And then, of course, you have Waluigi. Now, when it comes to Waluigi, I definitely would love to be able to play as him in Smash. When it comes to Waluigi, first he was originally considered to start off as an assist trophy in both Super Smash Bros. Brawl and Super Smash Bros. 4. Although Waluigi only mainly appeared in the spin-off games, I definitely would love to see him playable in Smash for Switch. Speaking of assist trophies, I forgot to mention Little Mac. Definitely could be returning only if Sakurai wants to. Anyways, And then, of course, you have Geno from Super Mario RPG. Thanks to Square Enix already allowing Cloud to be in Super Smash Bros. 4, and all thanks to Square Enix willing to support the Switch. This means we could possibly see Geno join Super Smash Bros. 5 if Nintendo Square Enix both wanted to. And then, of course, you have, oh, right. And then, of course, you got a Breath of the Wild rep. Considering of how popular, what a big bestseller, The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild has been lately. And then, of course, you have a new Pokemon character. And then, of course, you have Rex and Pyra, who could be in Smash if Sakurai wants to. And then, of course, you got Chrome, whom also could potentially be in Smash. Not sure about that. It depends on Sakurai, let's just say. And then, of course, you got Dixie Kong. Now, it is a major surprise. Now, when it comes to Donkey Kong Smash, we already got Donkey Kong, we already got Diddy Kong. And it is a major surprise that we still didn't get Dixie Kong joining Smash yet. And even up to this day, because that she hasn't been in Super Smash Bros. Yet, this is why Nintendo didn't give her an amiibo figure, which is a total shame, as they did so with the other Mario characters, as you can see. And then, of course, got King K. Rool. Could fit well if Sakurai believes he can do that. And then, of course, I hear people talk about of how that they always want Ridley to join Super Smash Bros. Now, when it comes to Ridley, although as much as we wish to see Ridley join Smash, you guys do have to keep in mind that when it comes to Ridley in Super Smash Bros., he can never be a playable character in Super Smash Bros. Why? Let's just say size issues. Yeah. And as Masahiro Sakurai once stated before that if Ridley were to be a playable character in Super Smash Bros., it wouldn't be Ridley anymore. And then, now it's time to move on to the third-party characters who I think could be in Smash. First off, let's look into Sega. Now, for Sega characters, all we want, or at least all I want, personally want to see coming from Sega join Smash would be more Sonic characters. Why? Well, let's just say, like Mario and Fire Emblem, does indeed have a colorful cast of characters, as you guys can see. Which explains why games such as Sonic Heroes has been made, as well as Mario and Sonic at the Olympic Games as well. And for Sonic characters in Smash, therefore, who I think could potentially be in Smash, besides Sonic. Well, that is if they were at that anymore. Tails, Knuckles, Amy Rose, and Dr. Eggman. Why, when we speak about Tails and Knuckles, not only do they both contain unique movesets, but also they're considered to be major sidekicks to Sonic. Yeah. Whereas for Amy Rose, they would add girl power to Smash in the eyes of Sonic, of the Sonic universe. And plus, when we speak about Amy Rose, well, she like Tails and Knuckles, and unlike Shadow, Amy Rose has a very unique moveset. And then, of course, you got Dr. Eggman. Though he would be considered as a clone of Bowser Jr., it would be more excusable in this case. Just as excusable as when you have Falco and Wolf use Fox's moveset, as well as when Ganondorf dare use Captain Falcon's moveset. And now let's move on to Namco characters. Now, one Namco character, if Nintendo were to consider adding in a second Namco character into Smash, they should definitely be able to add in Heihachi. Why? Well, when it comes to Heihachi, he's considered to be a major crossover icon. He appeared in the PlayStation 2 version of Soul Calibur 2. He also appeared in every single game throughout the entire Tekken series. And, he appeared in Pac-Man Fever and in Namco Cross Capcom as well. As for Capcom characters who could be in Smash, although we could see characters coming from games such as Monster Hunter or Resident Evil, I believe the next Capcom rep in Smash after Mega Man and Ryu should definitely be Chun-Li. Why? Well, she, like Heihachi, as you guys can see, is considered to be a major crossover icon. She is considered to be the first ever female fighting video game character. Not only that, but also, another good reason why Chun-Li would be good fit, well, she's such a big crossover icon. Let's just say she already appeared in every single game throughout Capcom's very own Versus and Cross series. And she was in movies such as Wreck-It Ralph and Ready Player One. And she got her own movie where she is played by Mulan. No, really. The actress who famously voiced Mulan really did play Chun-Li in a movie that Chun-Li has of her own. I'm not making this up either, people. It's true. And, yeah. And plus, she's got her own unique moveset. And plus, we never seen a Chinese character appear in Super Smash Bros. In fact, it would be really, really cool if I were to play a game of Super Smash Bros. Next thing you know, I would definitely go all hungry for Chinese food. Some dumplings, some spare ribs, some egg drop soup. Happy face porridges containing 2 sunny side up eggs and some strips of bacon. And all that stuff. You get the idea. And maybe drink some tea. Just saying. But yeah. So yeah. When it comes to Capcom characters, yeah, I think the next Capcom rep should definitely be Chun-Li, as she's very popular. Not that I'm against seeing characters from games such as Monster Hunter and Resident Evil join Smash. It's just that, well, if Nintendo were to look into adding a third Capcom rep in Smash, they'd go with Chun-Li thanks to her popularity. Yeah, and you know, when Masahiro Sakurai really wants to add in certain characters to Smash, you know he looks for popularity. And then, of course, let's get into Konami. So far, already talked about Snake, right? One Konami character who would definitely be more likely to be in Smash than Snake to be in Smash for Switch would have to be Bomberman. Why? Well, considering the fact that Bomberman did get his own game coming to the Switch called Super Bomberman R. And then, of course, let's get into Square Enix characters. First off, you got Sora from Kingdom Hearts. Considering of how that he is gonna, considering the fact that we're all gonna get Kingdom Hearts 3, which could potentially be released on the Switch, only if the PS4 and Xbox One versions of the game ends up being a major success. And plus, we've already seen some Kingdom Hearts games on Nintendo handhelds as well. All of which are nothing but spin-off games, as you guys can see. And then, of course, you have Lara Croft, who also could potentially be in Smash if Nintendo and Square Enix both want to. After all, she is a really popular video game character. And, yeah. And then, of course, from Midway Games, although now owned by Warner Brothers, there are two Mortal Kombat characters I'd love to see join Super Smash Bros., consisting of Scorpion and Sub-Zero. Now I know what some of you are all probably going to be thinking, that the reason why I would want to see characters such as Heihachi, Chun-Li, Scorpion, and Sub-Zero all join Smash all definitely have to do with them having to be in epic battles. Technically, not really. No, far from it, actually. In fact, you could say that the reason why characters such as Heihachi, Chun-Li, Scorpion, Sub-Zero could all be in Smash. You could say that it's a similar reason why those characters, as well as Ryu, all made it into epic battles. What makes those reasonings similar? Let's just say, if you take a look at characters such as Heihachi, Ryu, Chun-Li, Scorpion, and Sub-Zero, you will see that these characters just named, what they all have in common. Well, let's just say, these characters I just named, as you can see, are all considered to be major crossover icons, as you can see. Somehow, it would make sense to implement these characters into Super Smash Bros. Now, this is not for me to say that every character that did get the epic battles treatment would be in Super Smash Bros. I am not expecting anyone from My Little Pony to join Super Smash Bros. Not even Pinkie Pie, nor even Twilight Sparkle. And I'm most certainly not expecting someone like Azuchi Guardian join Super Smash Bros. Despite having a long history with Super Smash Bros., such as making his own videos using gameplay from the first 4 games, and having to do voiceovers for some Super Smash Bros. Related projects. Excuse me. And I'm most certainly not expecting someone like Animat join Super Smash Bros. Either. Though it would be really cool if Animat dared join Super Smash Bros. And I'm most certainly not expecting myself to be in Smash either. But, yeah. And speaking of unlikely characters who could be in Smash. For Sony, there is one Sony character who could potentially be in Smash. That is the mascot of the original PlayStation himself, Crash Bandicoot. Now, when it comes to Crash Bandicoot, he originally started out as the mascot of the original PlayStation, rivaling with Mario for the Nintendo 64 and Sonic for the Sega Saturn and the Sega Dreamcast. But then, as the PlayStation 2 days kick in, this is the moment where Crash Bandicoot will not only crash Sony consoles such as the PlayStation 2, the PlayStation 3, and the PlayStation 4, but also non-Sony platforms as well, such as the Xbox 360, the Xbox One, the Nintendo GameCube, the Nintendo Wii, the Game Boy Advance, the Nintendo DS, and now the Nintendo Switch. Well, that is because Crash Bandicoot, as you can see, is owned by Activision. So somehow, Activision are the ones who can do whatever the hell they want with not just Crash Bandicoot, but also with Spyro the Dragon as well. Which explains why they would be the ones who would make the Skylanders games, which helped kickstarted the Toys to Life trend. As well as the reason why Crash Bandicoot and Dr. Neo Cortex both did once get their own Skylanders figures as well. And then, of course, you have Microsoft. Now, there are two Microsoft-owned characters who could potentially be in Smash. The first, or should I say the most likely one, would have to be Banjo-Kazooie. Now, when it comes to Banjo-Kazooie, to many gamers out there, they're considered to be major Nintendo icons. So much so that as many gamers prefer the Nintendo era rare games and the Microsoft era rare games, this is the moment where Microsoft CEO Phil Spencer will then keep an open mind and possibly allowing Nintendo to use Banjo-Kazooie all they want, especially for something like Super Smash Bros. Which I must say, it's great news to hear, because when it comes to Banjo-Kazooie, they're considered to be more of Nintendo icons than Microsoft, despite the fact that they're currently owned by Microsoft. Phil, in case if you're watching this, great job, and thank you, Mr. Spencer, for willing to allow Nintendo to use Banjo-Kazooie for Smash. And go to hell, Azu... Phil, in case if you're watching this, thank you for allowing Nintendo to include Banjo-Kazooie being Smash and acknowledging the great history Rare Limited has had with Nintendo. And go to hell, Azuchi Guardian, for always making up lies about my review show and not acknowledging the history you've had with that casual reviews with BearRimshot's, for not acknowledging what's been going on with me in regards to casual reviews with BearRimshot's ever since I broke ties with you. But, yeah. Anyways, moving on. And then, of course, by the way, one company I forgot to talk about. Anyways, as for the second Microsoft-owned character who could potentially be in Smash, that would be Steve from Minecraft. Why? Considering the fact that we've already seen Minecraft pop up on Nintendo consoles such as the Wii U and the Switch. Even though I feel Banjo-Kazooie would be more likely in Smash than Steve from Minecraft. Sorry, Steve. You ain't fit for Smash. But Banjo-Kazooie, on the other hand, are. Anyways, then finally, last but not least, with third-party companies, we got Ubisoft. For Ubisoft characters, there are two characters who could potentially be in Smash. First off, you have Rayman. Now, although he didn't appear as a full-fledged character in Smash 4, he did appear in Smash 4 as a trophy. Somehow, and plus, we've already seen Rayman pop up on various Nintendo platforms. And then the second one being Ezio from Assassin's Creed. Now, out of all the Assassin's Creed characters, Ezio is considered to be the face of the Assassin's Creed series. So much so that he even appeared as a guest character in Soul Calibur 5, when considering of including Assassin's Creed characters. And now let's talk about non-video game characters. Yes, I know, Super Smash Bros. Is supposed to celebrate the world of video games, but why not include at least some non-video game characters? At least the ones that did make some history with some in the world of video games in general. Here are some non-video game characters who I think could potentially be in Smash. First off, let's start with the most likely company that could let their characters be in Smash, being Disney. Now, I'm not just saying it because I love Disney, but rather because due to the great relationship Disney would typically have with Nintendo. Here are some Disney characters who I think could potentially be in Smash. First off, we got Mickey Mouse, aka the mouse who started it all. Now, when it comes to Mickey Mouse, he has a long history in video games. He made his first appearance on Mickey Mouse with a Game & Watch, and has appeared in Mickey Mania, which did get a Super Nintendo Entertainment System port, and he appeared in Castle of Illusion, and he also appeared in Mickey Speedway USA, which came out on the Nintendo 64 and the Game Boy Color and was released by the makers of Banjo-Kazooie themselves, Rare Limited. He also appeared in Kingdom Hearts, which popped up on the Game Boy Advance, Nintendo DS, and Nintendo 3DS. And he appeared in Epic Mickey, which came out on the Wii, the Wii U, and the 3DS. And he got not one, not two, but 3 Disney Infinity figures of his own. And he appeared in Connect Disneyland Adventures, so somehow he would be well prepared to be in Smash for Switch. Then, of course, you got Donald Duck, who made his first video game appearance on Mickey and Donald for the Game & Watch. And then, of course, you got Scrooge McDuck, who would be considered as a major NES icon. Right up there alongside Mario, Link, Samus, Pet, and Mega Man. And then, of course, you got Darkwing Duck, who would also be considered as another major NES icon as well. And then, And then, of course, you got Peter Pan, who not only did pop up in some of the games, including some of his own, one of which came out on the Game Boy Advance, but also did appear in some Kingdom Hearts games, and in Connect Disneyland Adventures, and was considered in getting his own Disney Infinity figure, as well as having to be a major inspiration to not one, but two video game characters, consisting of Link and Knights. And then, of course, you have Captain Hook. Now, out of all the Disney villains that exist, he'd be a perfect candidate for Disney villains, considering the fact that he's one Disney villain who popped up in many different forms of media, and yes, this includes video games as well. He even appeared in some Kingdom Hearts games, and in Epic Mickey, as well as in the Japanese version of Mickey Mouse, Mousecapade. And yeah. Basically what I'm trying to say is, when it comes to Captain Hook, he is considered to be a major crossover icon. And the same can also be said about Pete as well. He would also be a perfect fit in Smash, all thanks into having to pop up in every single form of media as well, including video games. And then, of course, you have Aladdin. Basically, when it comes to Aladdin, it was the third best-selling Genesis game behind the first two Sonic games. Though for Aladdin games in Smash, there are three I think could potentially work, being Aladdin, Jasmine, and Jafar. Then you have Ariel. I'd love to see her join Smash, but it really however, I'm not sure how Sakurai would pull off Ariel, but yeah. I know Ursula definitely would be harder. And then, of course, you have Marvel characters. Now, since Disney owns Marvel, we could potentially see some Marvel characters join Smash. In fact, there are two I could potentially see join Smash. The first, or should I say the most likely one, being Spider-Man. Now, when it comes to Spider-Man, he's considered to be very popular out of Marvel. He's considered to be very popular in Japan, even having one of his own TV shows, being Ultimate Spider-Man, being one of Japan's favorite foreign cartoons to watch, and having to appear in various Marvel vs. Capcom games, and having to pop up on Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2, and even having to get his own Disney figure. In fact, Spider-Man did get not one, but two Disney figures. And, yeah. And then, of course, you got Wolverine. Now, if you guys really want to know how Marvel vs. Capcom all started, well, let's just say it was all thanks to this one game called X-Men vs. Street Fighter. And when we speak about the X-Men, Wolverine would be considered as the face of the X-Men. And then, of course, you have Star Wars. The reason I'd say Star Wars characters could join Super Smash Bros., not only you have Disney's ownership of them, of that movie, and Disney's positive relationship with Nintendo, but also you guys do have to keep in mind that Masahiro Sakurai is a huge Star Wars fan. Not only that, but also when it comes to Star Wars, it's one major movie franchise that helped shape the video game industry. Hell, it was even franchise that helped kickstarted the LEGO video game franchise to begin with. Somehow we could see some Star Wars characters join Smash. So here's some of the ones who I think could potentially be in Smash. First off, you got Darth Vader, right? Basically, he appeared in the he's considered to be a major crossover icon. He appeared in the PlayStation 3 version of Soul Calibur 4. He appeared in Night at the Museum, Battle of the Smithsonian. And he even got his own Disney Infinity figure as well. And has appeared in every single LEGO Star Wars game. And then, of course, you have Yoda, who appeared in the Xbox 360 version of Soul Calibur 4. And also did get his own Disney Infinity figure. And even did get his own video game called Yoda Stories, which came out on the original Game Boy. And then, of course, you have Starkiller, who not only appeared as a guest character in both the PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360 versions of Soul Calibur 4, but also he appeared in LEGO Star Wars 3 The Clone Wars. And Starkiller did originate in a video game, so they could potentially include him if Disney and Nintendo both want to. And then, of course, you have Luke Skywalker, who is the face of the Star Wars Rogue Squadron games, which all came out on Nintendo platforms. And then, of course, you have Han Solo, who not only recently got his own movie, which I must say I personally saw at my local Alamo earlier today during lunchtime, but also did make a cameo in several Indiana Jones games, including the LEGO versions, including the LEGO games, as well as having to appear in the LEGO movie, as well as having to appear in Mercenaries' Playground of Destruction. And then, of course, you got Darth Maul. I forgot to mention that Han Solo also did get his own Disney Infinity figure. Then, of course, you got Darth Maul, who appeared in Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3 and got his own Disney Infinity figure and is considered to be the face of the Phantom Menace. And then, of course, and also Darth Maul does have his own fan base as well. And then, of course, you have Jango Fett. He appeared in Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 4, and he got his own video game in the form of Star Wars Bounty Hunter, which came out on the GameCube and the PS2 as well. And then, of course, you have Cal Katarn, who would mark a good rep for the Jedi Knight games. And then, of course, you got a Knights of the Old Republic rep. Consider how critically acclaimed and how best-selling these games are, despite the fact that they only came out on Microsoft platforms. Never at Sony, and never on Nintendo. And then, of course, moving on from Disney, let's get into some non-Disney characters, not from a video game, who could be in Smash. Some non-Disney characters who could potentially be in Smash include Shrek. Now, when it comes to Shrek in Smash, he not only appeared on some Nintendo consoles, but also having one of his games be the last video game to be released on the Game Boy Advance. But also he did rip off some Nintendo games such as Mario Kart, Mario Party, and Super Smash Bros. And then, of course, you have SpongeBob, who made his first appearance in a video game on Nicktoons Racing, which first came out on the Game Boy Color. And then, of course, you have Batman, who would pop up on several Nintendo platforms and would appear in fighting games such as the Injustice series and appeared in Mortal Kombat vs. DC Universe, as well as having to get his own LEGO Dimensions figure. And of course, I wouldn't be talking about non-video game characters that deserve to be in Smash without having to make at least one mention of Goku. Yeah, when it comes to Goku, he not only appeared on several Nintendo platforms, but also he appeared on several fighting games as well. So somehow Goku is indeed all well prepared to be in Smash. And enough talking about characters that I want to see join. Enough talking about characters. Let's move on to some features that they should add. Well, I also would love to see. Also want to see Subspace MC story mode return, similar to the Subspace Emissary from Super Smash Bros. Brawl. And one thing that I would love to see that I most certainly want to see come back more than anything else, would be Amiibo support. Because when it comes to Amiibo support, this is what helped kickstarted the Amiibo franchise, is all things Super Smash Bros. So hopefully for all the newcomers, as well as for all the missing veterans for Super Smash Bros. 4 that are returning, Nintendo should be able to add Amiibo support in for that as well. I'd be very, very happy if Amiibo figures for those characters can be made as well. And this wraps up this special vlog. I hope you all enjoyed. I hope you all enjoyed hearing out my personal predictions. And let me know what you want to see and you don't want to see in the comments below. This is Teddy bearRimshot signing out.